These clips are from the full council meeting 2 weeks before the May 2020 elections, talking about the scrutiny committee and how it did not scrutinise the future of the Bedworth Civic Hall. The full video is on the council's website. Civic Hall performance report. The annual report really says very little about it. It says update on Bedworth Civic Hall. The future of the Bedworth Civic Hall is obviously open to some uncertainty, and I do think we should have done a better bit of work on the Civic Hall so that we actually know what's going to happen before we ask people to vote on it in 2 weeks' time. The Civic Hall has been a basket case financially. It obviously needs some reform, and I think it's something the scrutiny should have done something about.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Kyle Evans.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and I'm not in any way trying to speak on behalf of the Chairman of the Finance and Public Services OSP about the Civic Hall performance report, but as members will know, when scrutiny reports go to the relevant committee, they're often sort of signed off by the Cabinet member before they go to committee, and I was the Cabinet member at the time who signed off those Civic Hall performance reports. The reason there's nothing in the reports is because for the last 2 years we've gone through coronavirus, so we haven't had shows, we haven't been able to open the bar, so there is no data to present to the committee on visits, etc., because it hasn't been operating as an entertainment facility. We get this day in, day out from Councillor Kandaka, and it's not frustrating me, it's actually upsetting NHS employees and volunteers on the ground. Councillor Kandaka, there is no uncertainty whatsoever about the Civic Hall. It is being used as a vaccination facility. I know that you've got track record on peddling lies, smears and untruths about the vaccination efforts locally, but it is being used as a vaccination facility. End of. And when the NHS turn around to us and say, we don't want to use the Civic Hall as a vaccination facility, that's what's going to happen. There is no uncertainty about the Civic Hall. So please, can I just ask you to stop it? Because I understand what you're trying to do. This is a political chamber, but when, as a councillor, you get phone calls from NHS volunteers calling you up to say they're upset about the fact that they're worried that they're going to be kicked out of the Civic Hall because Councillor Kandaka is peddling lies on Facebook. It's just not on. So please, can you just stop it?
Thank you, Councillor.
Administration believes in actually answering to all backbenchers on this regard. But what I would say in respect of Councillor Kondakor's comments are, even though it wasn't the Finance and Public Services Committee, he questioned me at the Business and Regeneration Committee about the Civic Hall. It wasn't strictly speaking within that committee's remit, but I answered all of his questions about the Civic Hall. I was there, open and honest about what was going on, but despite that, he has peddled lies on social media and half-truths. He said on his social media about how there was, and I think he FOI'd this, Mr Mayor, that there was an email from the council to the NHS in December, I believe the email was, which he has heavily redacted to lead members of the public to his own innuendo, that somehow there is a conspiracy that we were trying to push the NHS to take it for the year. It is absolute cobblers, Mr Mayor. What we did was, we said, we have to prepare for our budget. It's December, the budget is due in February. What do you want to do? Give us an answer. That is purely and simply everything that happened. And yet Councillor Kondakor deliberately misleads and lies to residents across this borough about what is going on. He questioned me at OSP, and I gave him an answer that it was the NHS who have asked for it. If they'd have asked me for 3 months, I would have granted it. If they'd have asked me for 3 weeks, I would have granted it. But they asked for 12 months. And I put the residents of this borough's health first and foremost above anything else. I know that the vaccine saved me. I know it has saved others. And that is what we will do until we are through this crisis. But overview and scrutiny should be used to actually question those in authority, not to actually go out and lie to residents of the public.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Condical.
I'm repeatedly in this chamber accused of lying, so I'd like a point of personal explanation. Or am
Point
I
of
not
order,
allowed?
Councillor Evans.
On a point of order, Mr Mayor, the Constitution states very clearly that a member can only speak once on an item, and Councillor Kundaka has already spoke on this item.
He has indeed, and that's what I was hoping you were going to do, but you went on to ask a question. So do you have a point of personal explanation? It does need to be specifically about what you've said here.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Point of personal explanation. When talking about the agenda item, I expressed my disappointment at the future of the Civic Hall not being discussed, because I think it's important that people know the future before the election. Thank you.